Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It has been a minute. I miss doing these.
It's been a few months.
I'm very, very excited. But tonight, we're going to be talking about relationships, guys. Everyone deserves love, and there's someone out there for each and every one of you. We're going to be talking about our ways of getting through our relationship together. We've been married for 6 years now.
6 years. We just celebrated our 6 years in November.
Been together for like eight.
Going on 9, yes.
Lots of time spent together and a lot of things that we've learned.
Starting in high school, so
a lot of things that we've learned over those years, and we're going to try to impart some of that to you guys. But first things first, if you don't know who we are, I'm Barrett.
And I'm Holly.
And together,
we're the Barleys.
We are full-time content creators streaming here on Twitch 5 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday, starting around 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we want to...
Edutinspirate.
What does it mean?
Educate, inspire, and entertain.
We want to be your home on the interwebs.
Welcome in.
Welcome in. So... relationships, Holly.
Relationships, yeah. Are we gonna do our well, what did we call it before? The very start of everything? Their unboxing? No, it was a...
Oh, housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
That's
not unboxing. Unless you need to, like, yeah, you know what?
Unbox your house. I don't know that there's any housekeeping really to get into.
Were we the Barleys when we did our last one?
I think we were. I think the name change went into effect around the last podcast.
Okay. Well, if you guys don't know, our name's the Barleys now. Barrett and Holly mashed together is the Barleys.
Yes.
We still stream on Twitch.
I think really the only housekeeping that needs to go, the stream time has moved down by an hour, so instead of 5:30, it's now 6:30.
6:30-ish.
Ish. I like to throw in the ish because life happens and we're notoriously never on time, so the ish is just permanent now.
Yeah, we have a little one and we're just really bad at time management sometimes.
I think everyone is, honestly.
Mine was normally not. It
okay,
kind of
you know what?
got it from you.
You can give me this one, Holly.
Okay, that's fine. Take it.
And then next week, if you're hearing this when the podcast released, there's going to be a subathon event. This is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of stupid stuff happening on stream. So if you listen and occasionally tune in, check it out.
Yes. Okay.
That's all I have, unless there's anything that you needed to add in.
Not that I know of. I might add something that I can think of, like, randomly in the middle of the podcast.
That's fair.
Yeah, or at the end, whatever.
Relationships.
So let's tell a little bit about ours. When did we start dating?
Well, we started dating in high school. I was a junior.
And I was a senior. I'm older than him by a year.
And it was because of theater class.
You said that weird.
Theater.
It's theater.
What?
It's theater, not theater.
Theater?
It's theater.
You just ignore the A in there?
Theater. You're supposed to.
Theater.
It's theater.
Theater. All right.
Okay,
You know what?
no.
You know what? This podcast is not about relationships. It's about the proper pronunciation of theater. Is it theater or theater?
I'm not sure.
Tweet at us.
Yeah.
Tell us. Is
tweet
it
at us,
theater
Twitch
or theater?
chat. Tell us who's right, who's wrong, whatever.
I swear, it is theater. You can't
It's
ignore
theater.
the A. The A is in the word.
I
What
know, but
happens
it's
to the
theater.
A?
The A, just, you know how there's, like, silent, like...
I know if you're listening to
knife?
this, you can't...
Like the word knife, the K is silent. You don't say knife. What? There's silent letters all over the place.
Staring knives into you.
Okay, that's fine. So, we've been together for a long time. We started dating after a week of knowing each other.
Yeah.
A week of talking. And we started dating.
We've literally been together ever since.
Yeah, we've
no
never
breakups, no hiccups, no...
Nothing like that.
Separations, nothing.
Yeah.
We've been together,
And we're very different people.
Yeah.
Very different people, but we're a lot the same as well.
Well, I think having differences in part is what makes relationships interesting, right?
Yeah.
dating someone who's too similar to yourself, or being with someone who's too similar to yourself, gets redundant. It doesn't add anything new or fresh.
Sometimes, yeah, depending on the person.
I feel like you have
But
to have those differences to help keep things interesting.
I feel like as we've been together the longer, we're starting to be a lot more like each other. We've been like, have you noticed that a little bit? Like, we're starting to like mend together. Okay, so you have your list. I have a pretty long one.
Yeah. I just have a couple like
talking points.
Basically, yeah. It was like my whole things were just a few like little tips, I guess, little talking points, things that came to my mind, like what keeps a relationship healthy, what makes it last long term.
Okay, well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What do you think is the most important part of our relationship?
Communication. Absolutely.
That's what I have as well.
Communication. 100%.
See, look, the first thing.
Yeah. And that's actually, wow, I didn't have that in there. I have things like on communication in there.
I have things on communication as well too.
But I didn't have that as like a direct list, but no, absolutely.
I think communication is absolutely number one, the first priority of any relationship, if that's a love relationship, if that's a friend relationship.
Absolutely.
Communication is so important if you're around any other human being.
Absolutely.
Or even animals at that point.
Well, I mean, the ability to talk and work things out, being able to see eye to eye and communicate clearly without causing fights or discourse.
Yeah.
I mean, is really what that boils down to, I think. It's, you know, I'm trying to find the right way to phrase it. It's you know, you have to be able to see eye to eye on things, right? You have to, if not see eye to eye, but at least communicate and be understood by the other person.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of fights happen because the other party doesn't clearly understand what you're trying to convey to them.
Possibly. Yeah. One of the biggest things that I've been working on personally, and we've talked about and work, it sounds really stupid, but it makes a world of differences. This is how that made me feel. Like when you talked like that,
yes.
When you did something like that, even treat it like you're a kid, like, oh, it made me feel sad, it made me feel angry, it made me feel upset, it made me feel confused. I think that's really important because the other person doesn't understand sometimes what they say or do, how that can affect you. And if it affects you negatively, then I feel like that definitely needs to be explained further to the partner.
Absolutely. You know, that's interesting because that's actually one of the things that they'll talk about in therapy. If like one of your big like friction points in your life is someone that you fight with or have constant discourse with, one of the very first things they recommend is switching from you statements to I feel statements.
Yeah.
Because you statements can come off accusatory, and it can instantly put, you know, the other party on the defensive, and then you're not going to get anywhere with that. So, I mean, if something's left out, instead of it being like, hey, you left this out, why'd you leave this out? You know, I'm getting angry because you left this out. Instead of, hey, I feel a little frustrated because there's stuff left out.
Or I feel disrespected due to you not being able to pick up after yourself, as I really tried to clean this house and make it nice for the family.
Because what that does instantly is it shifts the conversation from I'm coming in as a verbal assault, right? I'm coming in and confronting you, and instead I'm just projecting my side to you. I'm explaining.
And I feel like a very important thing in a relationship is a two-way road, as I say. Is the other person has to be willing to listen to you,
Yeah.
and understand that that's how that made them feel and really care. Like, they just have to be able to care about the other person.
Yeah, well, I would argue that if you find that one of the two don't care about the other, then
Like, oh, I don't care how you feel if I let that out and just storm away.
that's
Like, that's an
a
issue,
sign
probably.
of a very unhealthy relationship. That's something that needs to get worked out. There's something deeper happening there.
Yeah.
I think, at least. But it's interesting that you say that, because one of my tips was always be willing to talk and compromise, and that leads me. You're not always going to get your way.
No, you're not.
When you bring these things up and you know, even using these I feel statements, and you start talking these things out, people are different, and some things matter more to the other person than they matter to you.
Yeah, and there are sometimes you possibly will get your way as well. Like, if it's something that, hey, I want you to work on picking up after yourself a little bit more, then that person can work on that.
But I think understanding how much something matters to the other person and willing to give, absolutely willing to give ground,
Yeah.
and meet a middle ground is absolutely key when reaching any sort of an agreement there.
Can I give a example from our relationship?
Sure.
Our parenting style.
Oh god. Polar opposites.
So he grew up. Tell how you grew up. You grew up in a very...
Well, I grew up in a very hands-off, do-it-yourself, learn and grow, like...
kind of militaristic.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, my grandparents were military. My grandmother was Marines. My grandfather was Air Force. So I spent a lot of time with them in my early childhood, and a lot of it was, you know, you're a child amongst adults. Keep your mouth shut. You are to be seen, not heard. Do not speak unless spoken to. Answer questions directly, sirs and ma'ams. Use your manners absolutely. Otherwise, fade into the freaking background.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, my mom pushed a lot of independence at me. It was, you know, do your clothes, take care of your own things, set your own times. Anything that falters is your fault, so be responsible for it.
Yeah. And I grew up in a very... I had siblings, and you grew up without siblings.
I was an only child for 15 years.
So I had siblings, and it was we all pitching together to help each other. Yes, have wonderful manners, of course. That's one that we both have. And to, as long as another adult is not talking, you're welcome to talk. And it was a lot more lax, a lot more, but still structured. But it was very... very everyone helps everybody, and not very militaristic at all. And I say militaristic because I just think it's like a little bit stricter. It wasn't that strict on things.
Maybe strict is the better word.
So, yeah. That's what I mean by it. A little stricter.
Yeah, I mean, my early childhood was a lot stricter, but as I grew up, it was almost, honestly, too lax. You know, too independent to do your own thing.
Yeah.
And that comes from that's led later in life to a lot of my personal friction points. I take it as almost an insult when people try to step in and give advice or do something for me. I'm like,
that's one thing that he's been dealing with recently. And I'm just like, hey, what if you do this, or especially in the car. He hates me.
God.
He hates me backseat driving, but I'm just like, hey, babe, this is a little faster way, because he's really bad at directions. I love you, babe, but you're not the best at directions.
That's fair, honestly.
He's a little directionally challenged, but there's some times where I'm just like, hey, this is a faster way. He's like, why are you telling me that it's faster? I mean, stop backseat driving. I was like, okay, it's fine if you don't like that, but I'm just trying to help you out.
Because the way I see it, I'm a capable adult.
Yeah,
of making my own decisions, and if I needed the help, I would have asked for it.
Yeah, but then I try to be like, hey, I can help you with this, because that's just how I came from. I mean, if somebody told me a faster way, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, I'll try it out.
But that going back to what we were originally talking about, that's led to two very different parenting styles.
Yes, it has. And we've been working on making a compromise between both of them and really trying to work and stick with what we agree on as well. And yeah, it's very, very interesting because it's something we both take very passionately, and having both sides of everything in there.
But it has to be a give and take with that, though.
Yes.
There has to be ground given on either side. If you adamantly stand your ground on every single thing, if all your partner meets is a brick wall, that's just going to wear them down.
Yeah.
And that's how you get that detachment of, I don't care, do your own thing.
Yeah, I don't care, just, yeah.
Whatever. There's no point in talking about it because I'm just going to meet that resistance again.
Yeah.
So compromise, I think, is absolutely key there. And that also gets into another point of mine is patience.
I have that one next. I was about to say it, actually. Understand
Patience.
that the other person is not perfect. They might be having a bad day. That's another thing I have on here talking about. But they might be having a bad day. They might be just in a rough spot. But that also takes a lot of communication to figure out what's really going on with the other person and trying to help them with that as much as possible.
Well, that's the thing. As humans, we only can see and experience things from our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if you can see eye to eye with someone, even if you can empathize, it's empathy through your lens of perspective.
Yeah.
Right? So, you never really know, truly, honestly know, how someone else is doing, what's going on in their head, how their day's been, what they're struggling with. And if you approach everything just the way you're seeing it, I mean, that's very quickly going to turn into issues. Patience is a very, 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 very big thing. Being able to take a step back, understand that your lens of reality there, your perspective is not the only thing that's happening here, and there may be more underneath the surface than what you're seeing or experiencing.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Patience is a really key thing.
Yeah. One of my very first one right off the bat though was having realistic expectations.
Oh yes, I definitely think so.
At a core, people don't change. At the center of who they are as a person,
Yeah.
that is not gonna shift. Likes, interests, different personality quirks come and go, evolve as people grow older and different experiences happen. But if you get into a relationship expecting that your presence is going to somehow change them,
Yeah.
that you will make them a different person, you are going to be very sorely let down.
Yeah. One thing that we have done, and we find out that it works pretty well, is it goes along with communication, but basically asking the other person, hey, what do I need to work on personally in this relationship, or work on with myself, or things like that, and then just having the communication and writing it down. And like putting even time frames on them, like little goals that you're trying to accomplish. Like, oh, I want to be I feel like you need to like pick up a little bit more. Or
I'm seeing a reoccurring trend here.
It's communication, yeah.
Well, no, I'm seeing a reoccurring trend with the you need to pick up more.
That's just a really good example that I have. That's pretty vague, and I mean, it might play some part in just my mind and things that we might be dealing with right now.
No, but absolutely. I mean, oh God, well, it's on my mind. This
Okay,
is
go ahead.
shifting gears, but another expectation that I see a lot that is incredibly unhealthy for you and how you project onto others. A relationship is not going to make you a happy person.
Oh no. If anything, it's going to add more stress to your life.
Yes. You're not going to suddenly find, abundant joy if you are not already a happy person. It's being in a relationship isn't going to fix that. and projecting that expectation that another person is responsible for your own happiness is incredibly toxic.
Yeah.
Incredibly toxic. It is nothing but detrimental to the person and to the relationship.
Yeah.
That is a big expectation that kills a lot of relationships.
Yeah. That is definitely a thing that I suggest to everybody is work on yourself before you or even think about a relationship.
Yeah.
Is get yourself in a good place that you can love yourself, you can be happy, and just get yourself in a good spot so you can provide as much as you possibly can to this relationship and make it the best it can be.
Yeah. And that kind of breaks off into another thing, is accepting each other's faults. And that goes back to the people aren't perfect, right? No one's perfect. No one is gonna be 100% all the time. People get grouchy. People have bad days.
People have bad months, even. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just some times where people are just in a funk.
Yeah.
People get sick, and people just aren't perfect.
Lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
And expecting period, really. Expecting someone to be anything other than them.
Yeah. But there are
that's
things that I do
projecting an
expect out of
expectation.
you.
No, that's... Okay, that might have been a weird way to put that.
Yeah.
Then.
Just having realistic expectations.
Yeah. Projecting this mental image, though, of the perfect partner on someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what you expect, and then just trying to hold them to this in your mind all the time. That's, unrealistic for starters.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely unrealistic. And what's going to happen is real life's going to come along and shatter that. And if that's the view that you've been holding that person in that whole time, your entire image of that person's going to be broken.
Yeah.
So, understanding going into it that this person does have faults, this person is human, and that needs to come with the territory of loving and accepting and being with this person. I think is absolutely key. Being willing and able to accept their faults, even some faults you can't even work past.
Yeah.
There's some things that are just part of their personality that may be grating to you, but you have to understand that before you're going to, I guess, push forward, right?
Yeah.
Because trying to change that later is trying to change them.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
So here's a very big thing that's kind of like a tip and a trick that I suggest in any relationship, is find out each other's love language.
Yes, that's a really, really good one.
Yeah, so that's a really big one. There's tests you can find online. Have you and your partner take the little test, and it'll tell you kind of things that you can do for them. Love languages, I wrote them all down. I looked at it all and wrote them down. It sounds silly, but...
no, it's absolutely legit, though.
Yeah, love languages there's 5 of them. The first one is words of affirmation. Physical touch is the second one. Receiving gifts is the third one. Quality time is the fourth one. And acts of service is the fifth one. Figure out what your partner, what are their love languages? What are things that they love and appreciate the most? And work on, what are your affirmations if you want to share them?
Yeah, so that was going to be what I was going to get into.
Okay.
My biggest one is acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
Going down them, you can throw all the kind words at me all day long, but it's just words.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, thank you for being nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all it is. Gifts are like, oh, cool, thank you for giving me something. But when I have a lot on my plate, I'm like, I need this, and this done today. It needs to get done. I'm stressing out. And then if part of that's, like yard work, and then I have to come in and clean something.
Yeah.
And I walk in the house and I see that thing's already been cleaned. It's like, you've just taken something massive off my plate. You've not only listened to me, but show that you give enough of a crap about me and how I'm handling things to take that stress off of my plate.
Yeah.
That to me shows that they care.
Mine are words of affirmation and receiving gifts. I love receiving gifts. I've always been like that. And words of affirmation, just like little things. Hey, you're doing wonderful today. And hey, just basically building the person up with words is one of mine. And just figure out each other's love languages, because it makes a real big difference in a relationship when someone cares enough that they
understand how you see love, how you
experience it, because there's different ways to experience love.
Yeah, that's how you got little Steve there. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, so he got me I named him. His name is Timothy.
That's what it was.
I expressed that I wanted a little plant for my desk, and it was like a month or two ago that I expressed it, and it was yesterday.
When I was at the store. Yeah.
Yesterday he saw one at the store, and it's a little cheap little plant, but I love him so much.
Yeah, because I
know
that matters, though.
Yeah.
I know that things like that matter.
It does.
I mean,
even
when
if it's
break it down, it shows that I've listened to what you wanted.
Listened, cared, and took the effort
to do it. Exactly. And at the end of the day, that's what they all break down to, is listen what matters to them, care enough to do it, and then put in the effort to do it.
Yeah. And that means a lot.
Yeah. I think we've really gone through all the ones I had here.
Okay, I have a few more.
Realistic expectations, be patient, be willing to accept faults, admit when you're wrong, admit when you're wrong, admit when you're wrong.
Admit when you're wrong.
Admit when you're wrong.
Yeah, and that's a hard one sometimes, because...
Swallow your fucking pride. Just do it. It's better in the long run. If you're wrong and you know it, don't hang on to it. You're not doing anything for anyone. You're not helping the relationship. You're not helping yourself. You're just boosting your freaking pride.
Yeah.
Let go of it. Swallow your pride. Admit that you were a jackass. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's how you end a fight.
Sometimes,
plain and simple. Yeah. The first step to it, recovering from something like that is just to be like, hey, I was in the wrong here.
Yeah.
I was being a jackass. I'm sorry. And I apologize. Genuinely fucking apologize when you're wrong. Being genuine's a big thing.
So I have two more things that are really important. Is make time for each other. You can't work on your relationship if you're not together and doing things and living life together. It's a freaking busy world. And
that is true.
Make time for each other. Seriously, your relationship is probably one of the single most important things in your life. Above work, above everything else, if you are in a relationship. And if it's not, then maybe it's time for the relationship to not be there anymore until you can be able to focus on one and everything, because it takes a lot of work. But really make time for each other. Do things together that you enjoy. Be each other's best friend.
I mean, it's effort put in, right? If no one's putting effort into it, then it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't know, I kind of look at a relationship like a living thing, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like a tree, and you have to water it on both sides.
Yeah. And, I mean, if you take that analogy, right, take it almost like a bonsai.
Exactly.
You have to water it and keep it healthy. You have to trim off the negative bits.
Yeah. To make room for more growth.
And you have to shape it the way you want it to go.
Exactly. And not every relationship's going to ever be the same.
No,
that's
true.
With anybody.
No two trees are ever the same, though.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a tree.
Yeah. It's a tree. Relationships are just a tree.
Yeah.
They're happy little bonsai trees. And if it's not a happy bonsai tree, just chuck it in the trash.
Yeah.
Understand when your relationship is toxic. If it is taking more energy than you're getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
If it is a toxic and grating part of your life, to be in this thing.
There are ways to fix it. There are definitely ways to fix it. So don't automatically throw it in the trash.
Yeah, but
because relationships,
when you're seeing that the other person's just toxic for you, and you try to fix it and they don't put in any effort to fix it, they're not being interested,
then it's not gonna work.
You're putting in effort and you're just exhausted from it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. If the other person doesn't want it to work, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It takes two sides to that.
Mm-hmm.
And if only one person is putting in the effort, it's gonna fall apart. And it turns into a very toxic thing. If you hang on to that, it is going to absolutely sideline your freaking mental health.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to hurt you a lot worse than a breakup will.
Yeah.
That pain may be intense, but it's temporary. Relationship continuing on is going to hurt you as long as you stay in it.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly years afterwards, depending on if there's any sort of long-lasting psychological trauma from that.
Mm-hmm. Or physical. Oh gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't be willing, and don't be willing to get walked over either. Have clear boundaries. I think that's a thing in all relationships.
Just have boundaries and discuss communication with others of what those boundaries are as well.
Yeah. And for me, a big thing is if there's a boundary set, understanding why it's there.
Mm-hmm. Talk to each other.
And it all just boils back down to communication.
Yeah, ask each other why. Why this? Why are you acting this way?
Because I feel like if you understand the person and the reasoning behind it, it makes it easier to deal with the thing as a whole.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the communication is just how I talk to my 5-year-old, like, oh, it seems like you're upset. Why are you upset? Is there anything I can do about it? I mean, sometimes it is. It's really the simplest levels is, this is how, when you yelled at me, this is how it made me feel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes communication can be really easy and sound really stupid, but it can make a world of difference. And I have one last thing.
Please, go ahead.
Lift each other up, because you're, at the end of the day, you're trying to be the best person you can be and also help your partner be the best person they can be.
Be each other's cheerleaders. Be each other's
cheerleaders. Cheer them on. If they are wanting to go for something, just and you're not sure about it, or do whatever makes them happy and excited, and love each other and just love each other no matter what. And
that reminds me of something I tweeted the other day. I'm trying to find it. While I'm looking for this, though, if there is anything that you guys would like to ask,
any questions in chat, about our relationship,
we'll open it up and answer anything you guys have, open and honestly.
And about our relationship, about everything, just everything, anything, any questions,
everything,
mental health,
all of it,
relationships.
Yep. I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think lifting each other up and making each other become the best person that they can possibly be, not forcing anything, of course, but really letting them grow and expand as a person, still giving them their room, but also helping. And so Nerdy Pixar Girl says, I feel like the second most important thing in a relationship is compassion. I definitely feel like that. I feel like that's a very important thing too, Nerdy Pixel Girl.
Absolutely.
Yes. I mean,
you have to care about the other person.
Yeah, you really do. And if you don't have that, then you really don't have a relationship post. For sure.
It was an Instagram post, not a Twitter.
And you really have to love each other. And love each other no matter what. At the end of the day, even if Barrett and I have gotten a fight, there's still an I love you. One of the things that I actually wrote that I just forgot about is one thing that we do is never go to bed angry.
Yeah.
And that's just, it might not work for all relationships, but there's not one point that Barrett has ever had to sleep on the couch in our relationship, or there's sometimes where we have to walk away from each other because that's very important sometimes for our relationship, so we don't get more heated and blow up. And we can come back with a clear mind.
Don't harbor negativity for the other person for any length of time.
Yeah.
That's all the don't go to bed angry is. Don't harbor negativity for any length of time. If you're angry, put it out there, and talk about it and work it out.
Yeah, but there are times where if we do get into a fight and something hurt, and like something that you said hurt my feelings.
Take a second.
Yeah, but I mean, just the other day you were like asking me what was wrong. I was like, well, we had the fight this morning and I'm still a little hurt from it, to be honest.
But being upset from something and then harboring negativity to the person is two different things.
Yeah.
Harboring that negativity will fester.
Mm-hmm.
It'll turn into something else.
Yeah.
And it'll manifest in other ways that you can't predict.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how having the cup stacked in the wrong spot in the cabinet turns into a fight, when at the end of the day, it's a fucking cup.
Yeah.
Like, the fight wasn't about the thing, the fight was about something else.
Yeah.
But talking about being each other's cheerleader, it was an Instagram post. It was a caption of an Instagram post the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking, things to look for when you're looking at a partner. Do they support your dreams and help drive your success?
Yeah.
Are they going to cheer you on when things get hard?
Yeah.
Do they encourage you to grow and develop as a person,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just accepting the status quo or trying to hold you back?
Oh, yeah.
Do they encourage you to be the best person that you can be?
Mm-hmm.
And we literally just talked about that, but do they forgive you for the things and not hold grudges?
Yeah.
And that's absolutely a big thing, I think. I think that's one of the big reasons why our relationship's been so good for so long, is we don't harbor grudges, we don't keep negativity at each other ever.
Yeah.
Period.
Even if we're angry, we're still like, I love you. I love you too.
I'm angry at you, but I still love you.
I still love you, exactly. There's
Yeah.
been several times where that's happened.
Yeah.
But
You
we
go to
don't
bed
fight all
angry,
that
it gets
often.
deep-seated and ends up bottling up. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then that's how you get those very toxic manifestations of that emotion in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any other questions, chat?
Yeah, but I think our relationship is a really good one. And I can't wait
definitely
for
think
years
so.
to come. I don't think it's ever been really rocky at any point.
No, not really.
Yeah.
No. I mean, everyone has their fights, everyone has disagreements.
Oh
but-
yeah, and especially as stubborn as we both are,
Oh, yeah.
we're definitely both very
and that's
stubborn.
no part of this is to try to say that we're perfect.
No,
or that
we're not perfect. There's so much
we're
stuff that we work on,
the
and
ideal relationship, but
no.
also we've pushed past so many of those boundaries that people say that end relationships. Oh, you won't ever last with your high school boyfriend, girlfriend. 8 years going strong. Oh, most marriages end after 2 years. 6 years going strong.
Yeah.
Like these roadblocks that people say and put up, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, everyone has a rough patch in their relationship in the first couple of years, or once the honeymoon phase is over, everything changes. Like
There's still some times that I feel like I felt like in the honeymoon stage.
no,
And there's sometimes not, which I mean, that's normal.
yeah.
But yeah, just saying how we do our relationship. I feel like we do at least some things right. And there's some things we do wrong, but
Yeah.
we work on that. And I think that's the most important thing, is we really
Work on it.
communication and love each other. So if you can learn just anything from our relationship,
Communicate.
we're
Openly.
here. Yeah.
Honestly, completely.
Yep. About everything.
Well,
Anything and everything.
I think that's about a wrap,
Yeah.
honestly. So if you guys liked this and found it valuable, putting a review out on the podcasting platforms is a massive
Yes.
free way to help get the podcast out there to more people. Please drop a review and tell us what you think of what we do here. Share this with someone who needs to hear it.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next Thursday.
Yeah, we stream on Twitch.
Yeah, come in, hang out. The atmosphere is all about mental health and love and support, guys. If you need a great group of people to lift you up, then come on in. We got you.
And we do things that are video game-esque times. We do a lot of chatting. We're now getting into puzzles and stuff on stream, we have really good conversations. We have some awesome people. We have a mental health section in our Discord, exclamation point Discord, by the way.
In our chat. Yep.
In our chat.
I think there'll also be a link in the show notes of the podcast.
Yes, we have an awesome group of people if you want to talk life. We have a new channel in our Discord that are achievements, where you can post your achievements and you can share them with everybody else. Everybody lifts you up or likes them and things like that. Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one, guys.